Hey everyone, my name is Dante and welcome back to Story Hub, your hub for the best stories on Reddit. I'm in a relationship with a guy who also works in tech. He makes 68k and I make 130k. I am a mechanical engineer at a robotics startup. He works at a more stable job doing programming at a large company. He brought me to meet his friends at a party and they asked me about myself. His friends mostly work in tech too and talked about themselves in terms of their jobs. I told them I'm a hiker, I do archery, I love road trips and camping and riding dirt bikes, etc. Basically talking about my hobbies because work is just a way to get paid to do the shot I love. It's not how I define myself and it doesn't come to mind when someone wants me to tell them about myself. One of his friends asked about work and I said, oh gosh, I don't want to talk about work at a party. Spent my whole day sweating my ass off in 95-degree heat trying to replace this busted ass motor just to find the replacement part was also fucked. I wasn't lying or trying to downplay that I have a good job. That really is how I spent my day, and I wasn't in the mood to talk shop at a party. Some other conversations came up casually that probably also made me seem poor, like me saying that car dealership repairs were a ripoff, and telling my boyfriend that my childhood neighbor's trailer caught on fire and I was gonna visit and help her out. I wasn't doing it on purpose. I was literally just talking about my life, but I guess I gave the impression I was poorer. It got later in the night. Everyone was getting drunker, and some of his friends, not close ones though, were making jokes about me growing up in a trailer and being a gold digger, and being ready to jump to a richer guy. Really misogynistic shot honestly, since they don't even know me and seem to just assume all girls are good diggers. He didn't say anything. He later said it was because he'd smoked weed and gets quiet and has trouble carrying on a quick conversation when he's high. But regardless, I felt hurt he didn't say anything. I got irritated with his friends and asked, now why the hell would you say that when I make twice what he does? His friends went quiet for a second and I continued saying there ain't no gold to dig here, not with him or anyone at this party. So do y'all think I'm cheap, or do y'all think I'm stupid? My boyfriend wanted to leave the party shortly after and he was pretty upset with me for telling everyone I make twice what he does. I said I would have held my tongue if he'd checked his friends himself. But he didn't say anything, so I wasn't about to let them talk to me like that. He said it was humiliating and now everyone thinks I'm a butch, and I flippantly said at least they know I'm a rich bitch. He was angry I embarrassed him when I spoke up. I was angry I had to say anything at all because his friends were talking shot, so it should be on him to check them. Stuff is still tense. Am I the idiot for explaining why I'm not a gold digger? Not the idiot. So your boyfriend was too high to say anything to support you but sober enough to complain when you rightly called him and his rude mates out. Not the idiot. His friends sound like those dudes that whine that they can't get GFS, think they deserve supermodels, but that are complete misogynists. The F got his ego bruised that you let it be known you out-earned him. He'll get over it, or he's stuck in the patriarchal ideal that the man is supposed to be the main breadwinner. My wife and I bought a 4-bedroom house in Pa that my son lives in. Our son went to college in Pa and wanted to stay in the area, so we bought the house as a second home. We live in NJ and commute into Manhattan for work. We figured that he would have a place to live and we could visit every so often and spend some quality time together. We pay the taxes and services, maintenance on the house, our son pays for his groceries and the house utilities. Really quick, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to drop a like. All was going well for a few years. Our son meets a girl and they get serious. We met her and she seems nice enough. They announce their engagement and she moves into the house with our son. Now for the problem, the wedding. We held a little get to know you BBQ at the Pa house. My son and daughter are there, as are our son's fiancée and her parents and sisters. We all seem to be getting along well. My wife, daughter and the fiancé go into the house along with her mother and sisters and my son. A few minutes later my wife and daughter come out and are really upset. They come over and tell me we're leaving and driving back to NJ. I try to find out what happened. Once we got back to NJ and they calmed down, they told me that our son and his fiancée along with her family don't want us at the wedding. According to what I was told, we're not their kind of people. I was livid. I called my son and asked him WTH this was about. He tells me that her family feels that we are not good enough and will embarrass them at a family wedding, and that we are all uninvited from the wedding. I let a week go by to calm myself down and drive back to the Pa house. The new future in-laws are in the house along with the fiancé. It appears that they all moved into the house. They asked me why I'm there. I tell them that since we aren't invited to the wedding, I was coming over to talk to my son. They tell me to leave their house. I lost it and told them that they had 30 days to get out. Tell my son I'm selling the house and he could find somewhere else to live with all of you. I go to a realtor in town and list the house for sale. They call my son at work and tell him what I said. Apparently they thought that he owned the house. He calls me and asks why I'm selling his house. I tell him I paid for it along with the taxes on it and it is mine. He was living there rent-free, but since he doesn't want us in his new life, he has to get out. I tell him the same as I told his future in-laws, they have 30 days to get out, then I'll get a lawyer and get them evicted. Am I the off for taking a hard stance on this? He is my son, but the in-laws seem to take over and we no longer count. Not the idiot. And I want an update on this because it sounds nuts. What kind of people do they think you are? How is your son okay with excluding his whole family? Do you think your son's been brainwashed by his fiancée? How did he think the house was his when he didn't pay the taxes on it? Not the idiot. You don't need a lawyer in 30 days, you need one now. I am not familiar with Pa tenant laws etc., but you need to follow everything by the book so that you can't contest anything. I would also go back and videotape, with timestamp, the entire property, inside and out, so they can be held accountable for any damage done. So me, female 26, and my husband, 28 meters, who I'll call Jake for this story, have been together for 5 years and married for 3. We have recently started trying for a baby as we both felt like that was the next step in our life together, and 3 weeks ago I got a positive test back. We were really happy and told our families, and now my mom and mother-in-law want to throw a big baby shower for us. It was just super good news all around. Well, 2 nights ago me and Jake were getting ready for bed when he reminded me to go through the house and make sure all the lights were off. Now he can be a little lazy at times, and it has become a nightly routine for me to make sure all the lights are off that he leaves on before we go to bed. I wasn't feeling very well and asked if he could just do it since he wasn't doing anything and was literally standing by the door. He then tells me no, this is what is expected of you every night. I was a little hurt, but I didn't want to fight with him, so I just did it. When I came back, Jake goes on this very long and unprovoked rant saying things like just because you are pregnant does not mean anything will change and you are still expected to cook, clean, and do all the chores every day because how can you be expected to be a mother if you can't handle a little work? He wasn't yelling or anything. He was talking to me quietly like he was 2 inches tall. I was shocked because I had never heard him say anything like this. The rant went on for about 30 minutes before I interjected and asked, well, what do you plan on doing to help me with all of this? He then got extremely defensive, saying he works his ass off at his job to provide for me and what is going to be our future children. For context, I don't work ATM. My job was not paying enough to justify me going, so I am a full-time college student. He ended by saying that it doesn't matter how I feel physically or mentally. It is a mother's job to push through. And if he helped and babied me, I wouldn't be a good mother. I got extremely upset and started yelling, and I said that I wish I would have known this is how you felt before I got pregnant with your baby. There was a moment of silence before he started crying and he left for the night to stay at his mother's house. He hasn't been back yet, and my mother-in-law and sister-in-law have called me berating me and saying I broke Jake's heart with what I said and I need to apologize immediately, and until I do he isn't coming home. I don't know how to feel. So am I the idiot for yelling at my husband after he said he isn't helping me with anything during the pregnancy because it's a mother's job to deal with it? Edit. First, I want to thank you all for your responses. I'm sorry I haven't really responded to anyone specifically, but I really do appreciate you guys. A few of you asked if I told my mother-in-law and sister-in-law what he said, which I did. They basically said I was being sensitive and all he meant was pregnancy isn't an excuse to be lazy. He meant no harm. Okay. I am getting some things together and I'm going to be headed to my mom and dad's house. My mom is furious with him and doesn't want me apologizing to him or talking to him without the situation either being recorded or having a witness. Regardless, I am okay and will be okay. I do appreciate all of you though. You have opened my eyes to many things I may have been ignoring or looking past over the years. Not the idiot. You're in an abusive relationship. He's wrong. Things will change for the worse. Men are often more abusive during a woman's pregnancy because they can't control the pregnancy itself. But you need to run, not the idiot. Abusers often start their abuse during life changes like this. This is terrifying behavior and you should strongly consider all of your options, including abortion. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe.